Hey everybody, Cannon here from More Technologies. In this video, we're going to talk about in connectors, and I'm going to teach you how to design parts that work with them. So first, what is an in connector? Well, it's this little piece that we use all over the MOREbot ecosystem. If you've got a base robot, you probably have quite a few of these, and same for the maker pack. They're really useful. So first of all, you can use them to make just a simple rail like this. You've just got two of them with 4 dowels connecting them, but then you can go further. And you can stack them on top of each other and expand it like this. You can also insert things like corners into them, and then insert dowels into those corners so they stay fit. And the topic of this video will be discussing how to make things like corners that insert into the in connector. So the first thing that we've done is standardize the insert size for working with in connectors. And this is the size that you have to work with. It's basically a rectangle that's 0.36 inches wide, 0.36 inches tall, and ½ inch deep. At the end of that rectangle is another rectangle that basically blocks it from going too far into the in connector. And it can be pretty much whatever width you want and size. It just needs to be some kind of surface that stops it. And in the very middle of the in connector of this insert is a hole that is 0.2 inches in diameter that allows you to insert dowels to lock it in. So let's just go ahead and start doing this in TinkerCAD. So for this video, I'm going to be redesigning the corner in TinkerCAD. And the very first thing I want to do is design one of these inserts. So I'm going to go ahead and pull over a square, and I'm just going to start sizing it up. So let's go ahead and change the height. Oh, and before you keep going with this, let's do this. Go ahead and click Edit Grid. And your units are probably in millimeters, so just select that drop down and click inches, and go ahead and say Update Grid. I'd also suggest turning your Snap Grid on. So I've got my part, my rectangle cube, my grid is in inches, and we're ready to begin. So first I'm going to click on it. I'm going to click on this top piece, and you see the height pop up. I'm going to type 0.36. Okay, so now I just need to make it 0.36 wide. So I'm going to select this one right here and type in 0.36, and lastly I need to make it a ½ inch long. So I'm going to select that, type in 0.5, and there we go. That's the general size of the insert. So now we need to go ahead, we need to go ahead and add in the hole in the center. So for that I'm going to pull over a cylinder. And this is obviously way too big. If you remember from the dimensions, it's just 0.2 inches in diameter. So I'm going to go ahead and select it in this direction and type in 0.2. I'll do the same for this direction. Oops. Type in 0.2. And the height doesn't really matter. So now what I need to do is align these two. And if you look at this reference, you can see that it's 0.25 inches from the edge. Well, this is only ½ an inch long, so that means it's in the very, very middle. So I'm going to select both of them, and I'm going to hit my Align tool. And I'm going to hit this one right here and this one right here. And that puts it square in the middle. So now I'm going to select over both of them and group. And now I have one insert. So now I need to make the rectangle that goes along the side that kind of stops it from going too far into the in connector. So I'm just going to drag over a box. I'm going to make that box a little bit shorter. Let's just go ahead and make it 0.36 so it fits well. And I'm going to make it, let's change the width to 0.2. And, oh, that's not what I wanted. This is the one that needs to be 0.2. That needs to be 0.2, and we can make this 0.55 or something like that. So now I just need to butt these up against each other. And I want to go ahead and select them both and hit the Align tool once more and select the middle one. I'm also going to, let's see. So we're going to do that, and they're kind of off, inserting into each other. It's not quite what I want, so I'm just going to drag it again to where they line up. There we go. So now I just need to align one more time and align them in the middle like this. So there we go. There's our insert. I'm going to select it. I'm going to hit Group. And there we go, it's a solid piece. So now what we're going to do is create a extension part of this that'll form the corner. So I'm going to go ahead and make this piece again 0.36 inches tall, I'm only going to make it 0.36 inches wide as well, and then I'm going to make it 0.5 inches long. Actually, let's go ahead and try 0.75. So now I'm going to go ahead and line this up again. We'll just line this up using the snap grid up against each other. I'm going to select them both, and I'm going to hit the align tool, and I'm just going to select the center one. So there we have it, one little unit. I'm going to select over it, hit group, and now I'm going to select it and duplicate it. And when it duplicates it, it makes it in the same position, which is kind of annoying, but you just have to drag it away. So now I have these two ends, and I have to make it into a corner. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this one and rotate it, just 90 degrees. And now that it's rotated 90 degrees, I'm ready to turn it into a corner like that. Now you'll notice that it's hard to get it to line up exactly how we want. And that's because the snap grid is on, and it doesn't recognize that the shape is kind of inserted here. It just sees it as this rectangle. So the rectangle is what's snapping to the grid. So what I'm going to do is select this little pop-up right here and click off on my snap grid. And now I can move these wherever I want. So go ahead and just eyeball it and line up your corner. And then when it looks pretty good, you can scroll back out a little bit, select them both, and hit group. And there you have it. There's your corner. Now, if we wanted to 3D print this, we could just click Export and click XDL, and then we get our part. Now, the point of this is to not design more corners, per se, but to allow you to design new things. So with the same method, you could design a corner that's not at 90 degrees. Maybe it's at 33 degrees. Or maybe you could design some kind of hoop that goes inside the end connector. There's a lot of different possibilities. We've come up with a lot of cool parts that work with it. And this is just one more thing that you can add to your part design toolbox for working with the MOREbot ecosystem. So anyways, I hope this video was helpful, and I'd love to see whatever you create. So when you design something like this that works with the MOREbot ecosystem, please, please, please upload it to the Make section of MakerPlace. And that way other people can get to use your part and create cool things. So thank you, and have a great day.